I once was told the purpose of life is to live a life of purpose. To me, a life of purpose does not consist of curing a disease or winning a Nobel Prize. To me, a life of purpose consists of one person touching another's life in a positive way. My Uncle Francis surpassed my definition of a life of purpose in so many ways. First, he was a brother, son, and a friend. The typical brother and friend who was quiet but ready to tease you at the perfect moment. Though we all know we hated at the time sometimes when he embarrassed you. You knew by his smile that it was out of love and complete adoration for you. His bond with his siblings was unique and unforgettable to them especially, and anyone who knew them. Second, Uncle Francis shared an incomparable love with an amazing little woman. Their love goes against all odds, and from a young age, their love served me as a huge inspiration. It's the kind of love I wanted to share with my future husband. My auntie and uncle taught me that true love does conquer all. I could continue on and on with an unending list of positive effects, but you should all know those things. His friendship, loyalty, unique humor, his job. We can all agree that he was an irreplaceable man. I would rather finish with a quick memory that I have, and I would like you all to see it. So if you would please all close your eyes. Picture yourself on the shore of a lake engulfed with hills and mountains on a crisp spring day. Imagine yourself with a small fishing pole and the line is out in the shallow water. You turn to your right to see Francis with his fishing pole and doing the same thing. He turns to you and smiles. Just remember that smile and rejoice in the memory of a man who lived a life of purpose. Thank you.
I'm Teresa, one of the other nieces. I tried to prepare something, and I couldn't. I couldn't sit down and really get anything down on paper. So I'm going to try to wing this as best I can. Bear with me. I loved my uncle very much. He was always a joy to be around, making us laugh, making us food, and, oh yes, all the endless of karaoke. It was always easy when we brought friends up to explain what we do when we'd come up to visit. It doesn't matter if we showed up at 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. We had to prepare to sing at least 2 hours of karaoke before we go to bed. I had the honor of being with Uncle Francis and my mom a couple years ago when their mother passed, to go to the Philippines with them and be there for them. And I was glad that I got to spend time with him, my mom, and all their siblings. I got to go around Manila and stuff and talk about their past and their growing up together, seeing their family's orientation. And he really, really loved his family very much. Even when he might not have liked them very much, he still loved them very much. But I remember getting ready to head out there. One thing, about the night before I left, I got a phone call from my Auntie Lorna, asking me to please make sure I help take care of Uncle while we're out there. She's like, I know you have your hands full with your mom, but if you could take care of him too, I would be grateful. And I said, absolutely, no problem. My mom likes to call me the commander because I take care of her a lot. My uncle started calling me that too. And then my other uncle, and my other aunts, and all of a sudden I was just the commander the whole 2 weeks I was out there. But I took care of him, showed him the love that I was asked to do. He was very grateful. when he was getting ready to go in for his surgery, we came up here to visit and hang out. And Uncle pulled me aside and asked if there was something I could do for him. I said, sure, of course. I said, can you please take care of your Auntie Lorna? Make sure she's okay. Make sure she's with you guys and happy. I don't want her to go through any of this alone. So if you could do me that favor, I'd appreciate it. But absolutely no problem. I will take care of her. She'll be fine. I was there the morning he went in for surgery. I just sat there quietly while they all talked. Let him talk to his sisters in the Philippines before he went in. As we were at the hugs and kisses corner, they called it. Auntie Lorna gives him a kiss, Mom gives him a kiss, and I reach in to give him a kiss. And the last thing I said to my uncle is, don't worry, I will take care of your sweet wife that you love so much. He says, okay, thank you, Tisa. I know you will. I've spent the last week trying. I hope I did okay. I will continue to take care of you, Auntie. I will be here for you. I will show you the love that you need, the care that you need, and the help that you need for anything. Because I think the love you guys shared was beautiful. And I'm sad to know that there are too many people out there that do not get to experience the love that you guys had. I am grateful that I have that love with my husband. I'm grateful that he got to meet him and let me know that he likes him and I did good. He approves. And that he got to play with my little Sean. I mostly just want everyone to remember the love that he had for everybody around him. Because that's what he did. If he knew you and you were his friends, he loved you. You were his family, and you will always be his family. So I'll make this promise to everyone else too. I am here for you. I am here to support you. And if there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. I'll try not to be a commander. But please forgive me if sometimes I sound like that. I love you, Auntie. I love you, Uncle. And I will always be here for you, too. And I will take care of your sweet and lovely and dear wife.
I'm David. I'm Francis's nephew. Quiet, strength, affectionate, loving. These are the 4 words that I use to describe my uncle. He was to me a very strong, very quiet, and very affectionate and loving man. Many men are raised in this world without the benefit of having any positive role models in their life. My uncle was one of these. As my mother said shortly after he passed, Francis had become an incredible man of strength, integrity, and love, and he had done it in spite of having little guidance in becoming so. He had chosen to be that way, and he found his own path in life. He forged his personality through the strength of his own character. In my own life, I've had the honor of having 3 incredible men to show me what being a man is all about. My grandfather, Carl, who was as honorable a man as you will ever meet. My own father, Mick, who was also a quiet and strong man with an endless love for his family. And my uncle, Francis. Through Francis, I have learned that we can be more than the situations of our youth might suggest for us. That we can have the strength of will, the personal desire, and the capacity to overcome obstacles presented to us, and to become the type of person who is admired and loved by all who meet us. Francis had a great capacity for love. I can see it in the grief of his friends, the grief of his family, and most especially in the grief of my Aunt Lorna. We do not grieve for his loss. I believe he is in a much better place than this now, joining those who've already gone and preparing a place for us all when our time also comes. We grieve because our own lives are now less than they were before. Without his love in our lives, we feel a great emptiness, and that is unbearable. So we grieve, and in grieving we are together, lifting the voices of our souls to Francis and letting him know that he mattered to us, that he is and will be missed in our lives. When I was little, I visited the Philippines. I was maybe 7 the last time I visited, and I was away from my dad who had stayed here, and I felt very lost and alone. But Francis took me under his wing. He was always a creative man, a tinkerer who could turn anything into an artistic piece. At the time he was making jewelry, and he showed me how he made rings. And in showing me his craft, he made me feel connected to him. He made me feel special, and he made me feel loved. And I have never forgotten that kindness and that warmth that he gave to me as a child. And so I was very excited when I heard he was finally coming to the U.S. I'll never forget the look of surprise when we met again and he saw how much I'd grown. All he could say that whole night was, "You're so big. David, you're so big." That and also, "I'm so cold." I, for one, am a better man for having known my uncle. We didn't talk much. I don't think he ever became fully comfortable speaking English with me. I'm sure I spoke too fast for him sometimes, and I think he felt like he spoke too slowly for me. So instead, we had developed a sort of silent language of nods and glances over the years. His approval coming in a sort of quiet nod, and his disapproval in a glance through his squinted eyes. We understood each other without saying words. What words needed to be said were often expressed through karaoke. And usually that meant me singing for hours. I'd say, "Uncle, why don't you sing?" He'd just smile and say, "No, that's all right. I want to hear you sing." And I'd continue, and continue, and continue. But I never wanted to stop singing for him because his acceptance of me always felt so good. And the look of joy on his face as I sang was always more satisfying for me than I could ever describe. I will miss my Uncle Francis, but I will never forget him. His influence on my life will forever be felt. His example will continue to guide me in how I love my family, how I treat the women in my life, and in how I will continue to push myself to be more than I am today. I thank him for being such a positive energy in my life, and I look forward to the day when our souls can sing together once again.